So I've been reading about about Judas. I always remember the pronunciation. I think it is from that film, The Passion of the Christ. Judah. Sounds a bit like Yoda. But definitely not a wise person is Judas. Judah. And that because he deceived. But the thing is, he thought that he deceived. I'd like to think that you could use God and him not know that you were just using him and not bowing the knee is a nonsense. On the very day that Judas betrayed Jesus at the Last Supper, Jesus even told Peter, "It is the one whom, after I dip the bread in the wine and I give it to that disciple, that is the one that will betray me." He knew that he was, I think the scripture calls it, the son of perdition. He who was destined to be damned. Wow, heavy, heavy stuff. I mean, how we mix up the predestination of election with choice is a great mystery. How that happens, I do not know and I do not understand, but I know that I must make a choice, and I know that Judas made a choice, and he made the choice to use Jesus to get to the thing that really delighted him and that he really bowed the knee to, and that was money. Money was what lit him up inside. Money was the thing that had his heart. And that all the time that he was with Jesus and the disciples, I mean, this is the thing. So great was his deception that even the disciples were shocked. And they looked amongst themselves saying, well, who of us would betray you? He had walked the roads with Jesus. He had healed the sick and preached the gospel. And in that, he was invisible from the outside in terms of his betrayal. But on the inside, of course, he had two faces. He had one that kept him in the camp, one that kept him in the tribe, and he had one that he kept secret. He had one which was devoted to the thing that he really loved, which was to money. We see it emerging briefly when he argues about the jar of of nard, I think it's called, of this perfume, worth a year's wages, broken at the feet of Jesus. He complains. He says, this could have been, sold and the money given to the poor. But the truth is, you saw his heart. You understood that. It says that he had his hand in the bag, and that's why, hand in the money bag, and that's why he said that. Projecting this thing on the outside, but on the inside, being different, deceiving, being dishonest, being sold out to something else, treacherous, double-dealing, full of trickery. And that's what it is. When we delight in something else apart from Christ, and our delight in that is such that we would not break it at the feet of Jesus. Judas did not like seeing his God broken at the feet of Jesus. That distinctly disturbed him. But it says in Matthew 13 verses 45 that the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant seeking a beautiful pearl or beautiful pearls. And when he'd found that one pearl of great price, it says he went and sold not just some of his stuff. He kind of, I'll have the prize and some other bits, but he said he sold everything. Everything went out the door. And he bought that. That thing he had was enough. And That was his delight. And Jesus is enough for us. He is that pearl of great price. And we should bow the knee. But sin is deceptive. It's powerful if we pay attention to it, if we think upon it. We must be spirit and word-led people, and not led by the reasoning of our mind and from the demands of our flesh. It is a foolishness to think that we could somehow get the better of God. Like Satan, the great original betrayer, who encouraged Adam to betray God, Adam and Eve to betray God, with the same type of reasoning that he knew better than, that Judas thought he knew better than, and that he would do things his way. He would not altogether bow the knee, but he would resist and compartmentalize his life. That, ouch. I know that I've been guilty of that in the past. Ouch, that hurts. To know that, I've not let God have it all. The truth was, if Judas had surrendered his concerns, his anxiety, his delight about money to God, he would have been blessed for it. But he didn't trust, he couldn't do that. To think that we could do better. And so it says at the Last Supper that as Judas dips the bread into the wine, or as he takes the bread from Jesus that's been dipped in the wine and he takes it, it says that Satan enters into him. The great betrayer enters into Judah. And in doing so, it then sets off this series of events that ends up with the temple guard coming into the Garden of Gethsemane with Judah. And they ask, well, who Jesus says, so who are you looking for? And they say, Jesus of Nazareth. And Jesus says something profound. He says, I am. And I am is what the God of heaven revealed himself to Moses as, for instance, at the burning bush. So Jesus was saying, I am, that he was God. And it says at that point, those grown-ass soldiers that had come there to do violence, and Judas, who was possessed by Satan, it says they fell back and down. They fell on their faces before God. And I love that. I love that you just can't beat him. There's no game or strategy by which you come out on top. The only thing that you can do is bow the knee, knowing that he always wins, and that it is better to trust in him than have your own reasoning. So, lessons from Judah. Certainly no Yoda. I would say bow the knee. Don't come into church or think of as Christianity or Jesus as an accessory to your life that makes it better. In order to have a life with Christ, you have to lose your own. Sell all. Bow the knee, and I promise you that he will look after you.